Hello and welcome to Mangum News. I'm your host, Elijah Mangum. This week we'll be discussing an investigation into President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents, Sarah Huckabee Sanders becoming the first female governor of Arkansas, Democratic challengers announce their runs in the upcoming Mississippi statewide elections, the 80th annual Golden Globes, my weekly weather report, a Martin Luther King Jr. Day parade in Brandon, and my discussion with WLBT Anchor Howard Ballou on the life of his mother, Maude Ballou. Without further ado, let's begin. President Joe Biden's attorneys discovered classified documents dating back to the president's time as vice president. The documents were found on November 2nd, locked in a closet at the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement. A second batch of 21 documents were found at President Biden's Delaware home on December 20th, before an additional document was found on January 5th. Upon discovery, the documents were returned to the National Archives. This incident wasn't reported until Tuesday. President Biden responded during his meeting with North American leaders in Mexico.
People know I take classified documents and classified information seriously. I was briefed about this discovery and surprised to learn that there were any government records that were taken there to that office.
On Thursday, Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel and Robert Hur to investigate the incident.
The extraordinary circumstances here require the appointment of a special counsel for this matter.
Please repeat after me. I, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
I, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Arkansas.
And the Constitution of the State of Arkansas.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of.
The office of Governor of the State of Arkansas.
The office of Governor of the State of Arkansas.
The official position upon which.
The official position upon which.
I am now about to enter.
I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations,
Thank
Governor.
On Tuesday, former White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was inaugurated as the first female governor of Arkansas, and the first daughter to become governor of the same state her father did.
I did not seek this office to be the first anything, but I ran to make Arkansas first in everything.
Governor Sanders signed executive orders banning the use of critical race theory in K-12 schools, and the term Latinx was banned from being used in the state government. Democrat challengers announced their bid for the upcoming 2023 state official elections. Former congressional candidate Sawaski Young announced his bid for Secretary of State. Young worked under two former Secretaries of State, Delbert Hosemann and Eric Clark. He previously ran and lost against Congressman Michael Guest for Congress last November. Incumbent Republican Secretary of State Michael Watson has yet to announce his run for re-election amid some reports suggesting that he was considering a Republican primary challenge against Governor Tate Reeves. Mississippi Public Service Commissioner from the Northern District, Brandon Presley, announced his bid for governor in the Democratic primary. He announced his campaign with a video promoting his populist message and attacking Governor Reeves. The 80th annual Golden Globes was broadcast on NBC Tuesday night, hosted by Gerard Carmichael. The Fabelmans won Best Picture Drama, while The Banshees of Inisherin won Best Picture Musical or Comedy. Steven Spielberg won Best Director for The Fabelmans. Austin Butler won Best Actor in a Drama for his performance as Elvis Presley in Elvis. Presley's real-life daughter, Lisa, was in attendance 2 days prior to her death at age 54. Colin Farrell won Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy for The Banshees of Inisherin. Cate Blanchett won Best Actress in a Drama for Tar. Michelle Yeoh won Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Her co-star, Ke Huy Quan, won Best Supporting Actor. Angela Bassett won Best Supporting Actress for her performance as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. The Banshees of Inisherin won Best Screenplay. Justin Hurwitz won Best Score for Babylon. Natu from RRR won Best Original Song. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won Best Animated Feature, while Argentina, 1985, won Best Foreign Language Film. The television awards were led by Best Series winners House of Dragon, Abbott Elementary, and White Lotus. Martin Luther King Jr. Day will have a 30% chance of rain with a high of 70 and a low of 60. Tuesday will have a 30% chance of rain with a high of 76 and a low of 60. Wednesday will have a 50% chance of rain with a high of 78 and a low of 54. Thursday will be sunny with a high of 66 and a low of 42. Friday will have a 40% chance of rain with a high of 62 and a low of 46. Saturday will have a 40% chance of rain with a high of 58 and a low of 46. Finally, Sunday will have a 30% chance of rain with a high of 60 and a low of 40. Communities working to unite youth hosted their second annual I Remember Martin Parade and Festival in downtown Brandon on Monday. The parade began at Brandon Middle School, led by the Grand Marshal, Ashley Garner of WLBT.
Honored to serve as the Grand Marshal. So my role is to lead the parade today here and through downtown Brandon and celebrate the birthday of Martin Luther King and all of his work, his life, his legacy.
Following the parade, a festival was held at Brandon Middle School with food trucks, games, door prizes, and music. According to CWUY, the festivals are in an effort to bring Rankin County together to honor the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin's birthday, we reflect on a man of greatness, a man that cared about all communities. And this is where we asked all of Rankin County, Pearl, Brandon, Pelahatchie, Richland, to come out and enjoy the fun and just be together. Martin would love us to be together as one, hand in hand. And so I think this day he will reflect back on, yes, he died, but he died for a cause. And hopefully we can show the world that we're here to honor him and celebrate his life.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what your mother did as her time as Martin Luther King Jr. secretary?
Yeah, she and my dad moved to Montgomery, Alabama back in, I want to say around 52. And she had become active. She was working for a radio station, the black-owned radio station there, and the only one in town, as a matter of fact. And she had already become active in a women's group that was seeking to get civil rights. It was kind of fed up with some of the activity in Montgomery at the time regarding, racial discrimination. And my dad, Leonard Ballou, and Dr. King were fraternity brothers and knew each other. And he found out about my mom's activism and, her business degree from Southern University in Baton Rouge. and she was a great organizer. And so he came over to the house a few times and asked, if she would join him in this effort to integrate buses, to join the MIA, which is Montgomery Improvement Association, and help him with the struggle for human decency and civil rights. And she initially was not receptive to the idea, but after about 3 or 4 times, he convinced her. And my dad said, "Yeah, that's cool. Let's do this." It didn't exactly say it like that, but you know what I mean. And so she became involved in 1955 through 1960 in Montgomery, Alabama, to help Dr. King start the Montgomery bus boycott. And she was the secretary, his first personal secretary. And I can remember as a child her, dragging me. I was just a little fellow then, and she would take me to the church office where Dr. King did his work at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. And she would organize his flight schedules, his travel plans, even down to his meals. She took notes, typed out all of his speeches. I mean, she did it all. You got to, think back then, there were no laptops, or there were no cell phones, none of the luxuries that we take for granted today, no social media, what have you. There's telephone and the typewriter, what have you. And she was, I think Stanford University basically called her a human encyclopedia at one point. They interviewed her later in life. So that was her primary duty, was to help Dr. King. She even helped edit some of his speeches. She would write little notes out to the side saying, "Why don't we say it this way?" and what have you. And the good thing about Dr. King, he was a good listener. And he said, "Yeah, you're right. That sounds like a good idea." So he would come by our house, I mean, numerous times before they had a formal office. I think our kitchen served as an office for her to take notes while Dr. King and my dad chatted about how they're going to go about, making this positive change for not only Montgomery, Alabama, but America.
And that brings me to another good point, that some of the things that I've read up about your mother is that, she was especially during that time, she was pretty close to Martin Luther King Jr. Can you kind of describe the relationship that they had?
Yes. They were co-workers and became friends. She and Coretta King were good friends. We would have little get-togethers where my dad and mom would go over to Dr. King and Coretta King's house. And my dad was a music professor, and he would play the piano because I don't know whether you knew, Coretta King was an aspiring opera singer, and my dad tried to mentor her as much as possible. And he would play the piano, and they would all kind of sing and gather, and the kids would be running around, and it was just a good family time. Dr. King had a great sense of humor. A lot of people don't realize about him. He was a fun guy to be around. It wasn't all serious. All of those were some very serious and dangerous times, but he was a fun guy. And Mrs. King was so sweet. I'll never forget, years later in the 90s, me and my co-anchors, Maggie and Marsha, were at an event in New York, and we were at the airport. And I don't remember whether it was Maggie or Marsha, but somebody looked over and saw Mrs. King sitting over with her group. And I said, "Oh gosh, let me go over and say hello to my friend there." And they said, "Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that." I guess they didn't realize the relationship. And she stood up and she gave me the biggest hug. She says, "Hey, how are you all grown up? How's your mom? How's your dad?" And, just as sweet as she can be. She was always really a sweet lady. But I digress.
That's all we have for this week. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all on Sunday.